Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to episode 21 of City Skylines New Zealand. And in this episode guys, I'm really stoked to be returning to some custom builds, and in this instance I'm building a regional airport. It's probably well overdue in the city, and I did think about doing an international airport, but I think a regional one at this stage is more appropriate. And I'm modelling this off a city in New Zealand called New Plymouth. The airport has just had a $28 million makeover, and it's a really nice little airport, and I thought this would fit in really well. I've also chosen to put it out here in this already established farmland that we made a couple of episodes ago, and I've had to lower some of the hills around here to be able to put the airport in, but I thought this was a good location. The reason I didn't want to go on the other side of the map to the north is because I still have plans on building an international airport, and I'd like to have that up there rather than this regional one. So, my name is Dirty H, and welcome to the series guys. If you're new, this series is based on New Zealand, and I'm trying to capture everything that makes it unique. If you subscribe to me or you've seen some of my stuff before, then welcome back, and I hope you guys enjoy this little airport build. So I start here with the building by removing all of the props and all of the trees in the area that we're going to work with, and find a good level to level all the terrain out to. I've tried to position the airport, or put it in a position where it's capable for the planes to fly through the valley and land and fly out of the valley. And for anyone that's flown into Queenstown before, this is fairly realistic. It is quite the drop to get down and into the airport, so I thought the placement was pretty right in that regard. And the only other thing that I had to do was lower some of the hills in this area so that the planes weren't flying straight into them, which would have been a great way to ruin the realistic buzz we're going for. And you'll see me place 2 prop planes down here just to try and get the runway lined up in the correct direction. And I've decided to start with the car park, and I want to make obviously every part of this airport as realistic as I can, so even with the car park I'm going to heavily detail it and take as much time as I need to. But I thought this was a perfect thing to start with, just to warm into the whole vibe of the area. Much like the rest of the airport, I'm not copying the car park like for like, but when we look closely at it, and with a small amount of knowledge on airports, we can gather some things straight away. There's a guarded car park if you're leaving your vehicle for a long time. There's also a fair amount of staff car parking, and the rest of it is generally just toll car parking with lots of yellow decals and different styles of parking. And obviously pedestrian areas where people can shift through to the entrance of the airport. And looking at this, I know I've got all the props that I need to make this happen, so that's exactly what I do here. A number of weeks ago, I had an asset creator by the name of Revy come to me and tell me that he had this amazing terminal building. Well, he didn't call it amazing, but it is amazing. This terminal building, this is based on the Invercargill terminal building that was designed by some famous architects, and I'm quite embarrassed now because I've forgotten their name and I was supposed to remember it. But what a fantastic job that he's done with this terminal. I'm so stoked that he's given me first dibs with this, because this is what spurred me on to make a regional airport rather than the international one. Is this terminal building is just gorgeous. I love it, and everything that I make is based around this. And you see me adding a shed to the end of it here, and I changed the shed eventually, but this is going to be where they bring in the baggage cart, and this whole terminal gets sat down right in front of the car park that we made and plumbed up with the paths that we put in while we made the car park, so that citizens getting on and off the planes walk right through the proper entrance to the building. I think this makes it look far more realistic, and it's pretty cool. And I also run a preliminary road out here that I will modify to use with the plane stand, and then the pedestrian path will connect off this and go through the terminal building. And because City Skylines prioritises pedestrian paths over walking down roadways, the people getting off the plane prefer to walk down the pedestrian path, which is great. I mentioned earlier that I changed that shed that I was trying to put on the end of the terminal building, and what I end up doing is just modifying another version of the terminal building so that it's just the end cap and then putting a prop door in that. And yeah, I know I probably could have just put a prop door straight in the terminal building, but I like to tinker. And the next thing you'll see me do is I create the runway, or the area where it comes in towards the terminal, out of surface networks as opposed to painting it with the concrete, and this is so I can get a nice accurate edge and it looks neat where it meets the grass. Then we can start messing with the roads that we put in as preliminary roads and start to put them and convert them to what we want the final look to be. And these roads are running out of the main building, and they're going to run over to a maintenance building where they can maintain the baggage handlers and stuff like that, and is also going to be the control tower over there. So just quickly, I've linked Revy's Steam account in the description to this video, and I've been having trouble with the links, so hopefully it works, but please go and check him out. He's got some other amazing assets, and a big thank you to Revy for creating this. Cheers, bro. So as far as I could tell from looking on Google Earth, this area between the terminal and the maintenance building slash control tower looks to be some sort of staff car park, and in Google Earth it's a really black and new looking car park, and I think that means it might be part of this new upgrade that I mentioned it's had. But rather than trying to make it look like it was new, I just focused on making a really cool looking little car park here with clear ways in and out and making it as realistic as possible, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I've really tried to focus on every little bit of this airport to make it as good as I possibly can, and that even includes staff car parks. Apart from using airports every now and then, I'd be the first to admit I don't really know too much about them. A lot of what I'm doing is based solely off what I've seen at airports in person, and what I've seen off Google Earth. And all of that is very much true for what you're seeing me do here. A lot of what I'm putting on this runway, I don't really know what these lines mean, and it does bug me a bit, and I'm being honest. I like to know why things have to be built a certain way, so there was a lot to do with this airport and this part in particular that frustrated me, but at the same time I was pleased with how it came out. So for the love of God, if there's anybody that's an amateur pilot or anybody that knows anything about airports, please enlighten me in the comments. I'd love to know. Or if Esad is watching this, I know Esad is an amazing airport creator in City Skylines. If you're watching this, bro, please enlighten us, mate. It is your time to shine. I mean, is it still cool to know general knowledge? It used to be cool. I don't know if it is anymore, man. I think I'm out of touch. But anyhow, look at that when it's finished. I'm so stoked with this. I've put a few stain decals down as well to make it look a bit realistic, and I'm stoked with that. That looks cool as. And after plumbing in the plane stand, I've got my first plane landing as well, which is even cooler. And I've swapped out the big standard jumbo jet for these little wee Cessnas that carry about 20 or 30 people, much more appropriate for a regional airport. And we also install the runway, and then we can carry on with the rest of it, which is these other hangars over to the what would be the north, and these are going to have a separate little grass runway that they can take off from. And I'm lucky enough to know firsthand exactly what these hangars are, or at least what one of them is. I did a skydive here a number of years ago, and I know that one of these sheds is for the skydiving in the area. And if you're wondering, yes, it was terrifying, and I contemplated breaking my leg on the way up in the plane. I was that anxious. Funnily enough, it was probably one of the proudest moments in my life, and yeah, there's a shameless little self-plug there for you. Anyway, getting back to the build, you see me change up where I'd put the concrete slabs down and use the networks again, much like we did with the runway and where it meets the terminal, and that's solely because we get that nice crisp edge where it meets the grass. And then I put down a whole lot of little wee details as well, like pallets and planes and hangar doors and maybe a few rental cars and things like that. Well guys, I have to say I am very happy with how this little regional airport come out, and I think it does real justice to the city. You guys know that we're going for a really realistic vibe with this city, and I think I've nailed it with this airport. Another big thing that I forgot to mention in terms of realistic building includes the decals. Some of the decals I've put down I think have really topped off the look. Of course your decals are only going to supplement what's already been built, but some of these dirt decals have amazing textures and they mean everything when you're talking about realism. And with that said, I'm sure there's ways that I could have made this even more realistic, and if you guys have any ideas how I could have done that, then please by all means let me know. So just quickly as well guys, a lot of the people that watch my stuff aren't subscribers, like regular viewers, and if that's you, yeah, I'm looking at you. If that's you, hit that button man, what are you waiting for? You know, you guys spur me on to do more, to do better, to put out this content, and it takes a lot of time to edit and do these videos, and I do it for you guys, and in particular my subscribers. I really enjoy your support, and yeah, like I said, you keep me moving forward. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that video, and hit me with any suggestions that you may have. Look after yourselves guys, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.